Oh, I've got to fix that and get my world back. It's so abrupt.
Get your world back.
Yeah, I got to get my world back. My world's gone. I don't know why I'm. Well, I'm doing this because. Oh my God. I have no idea what happened here, and there's a couple of reasons why I'm doing this. One of them is my what the hell. This is one of them. Okay, I'm going to turn this on and play this. Okay. So.
All right. So I just want to say hi to everyone. Mostly Scott Duke and Speed of Sound, or Answers in Atheism, for forcing my hand. I had no choice but to do the stream. Speed put me on blast.
That was a free will joke.
James, glad to see you in my chat instead of vice versa. James is always live. I can't believe James stopped a stream to actually come to mine.
Anyway, so the difference between choice and free will. And I think I read 3 or 4 articles on it, and I still don't understand the difference. And I'm pretty sure because I
don't think that the video cleared that up either.
I don't think so. None of the papers did either. It's like, okay, you make a choice. Okay, you have choices, and you make a choice, and then you have the free. Yeah.
Hi there. Did something just happen?
Yeah, something weird happened. It just cut me.
I clicked something, and then suddenly we were both out of it, and I was staring at a black screen.
Yeah, what the hell?
I don't know. I don't even know what I did. Is it that live button? I don't know.
You hit the abort button. Abort.
I must have. It must be invisible and embedded because I don't see anything that I could have hit.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay. Well, I'll be very careful from now on. See, I was just trying to type a hey, hello everybody kind of message in the side chat, and boom, it went away.
We got Doubting Thomas, KCA Randy, Fully Ignorant, and Command Cyborg is always first, always gets all the speed bumps.
I wonder if he has some sort of AI bot that spots when something's about to go live and makes sure he gets there first.
Right. I think so. Anyway, another reason for doing this is that J.P. Moreland, in his book Body and Soul, which is what Eric Hernandez's playbook, right?
Oh, and in preparation, I wanted to do a little research before this video, so I listened to a great rendition of Ella Fitzgerald singing Body and Soul. It will move your soul, whatever that is. I think of soul as a collective, poetic term. And it's whatever it is, it's going to move it. And so I feel very prepared to talk about soul.
Well, I'd probably like this book better if I listened to that. Well, actually, the interesting thing is J.P. Moreland does a really good job of laying out the philosophy. But then where he goes next is, God and the soul, right? But anyway, he defends libertarian free will, which is, and he does it this way. Okay. So number one, P is a substance that has the active power to bring about T. Okay, is that a T? Hang on a second. Let me put my fucking glasses on. E. Okay, E, an event.
E.
Okay, 2, P exerts active power as a first mover and originator to bring about E, the event. 3, P has the categorical ability to refrain from exerting active power to bring about E. And 4, P acts for the sake of a reason which serves as the final cause or teleological goal for which P acts. So anyway, so he's saying that there are intentional acts and pure voluntary acts. A pure voluntary act is one freely done by an agent for no reason. An intentional act is a voluntary act done for a reason. So, I have an intention. I think about something. And I don't understand how choice fits into that. I was really...
Yeah, and I don't understand a voluntary act done for no reason. Does that even exist?
Stephanie Helm said something very cryptic.
No, you said that you used a variable P in thinking about
P.
Okay. P?
Yeah, exactly. P. Yeah. P is the person and E is the event. And this is basically their description of libertarian free will. And they believe that it is the first cause, right? The soul is the first cause, and the intention would be the final cause or teleological goal that something acts, that sort of thing. And can you throw the link out for us?
Oh, sure.
I forgot how to do it. Scott, what the fuck would I do without you? I don't know. Because
you probably get somebody else.
I'm hoping Maya will join us and tell us, because I really don't understand this stuff about choice, and I'm not getting it. Sorry, I'm not getting it.
Yeah, between choice and free will.
Yeah. So, and I'm not sure where we got into that yesterday. That we may have made that mistake. So I'm going to pin that little sucker. Okay, so it's pinned. So anyway, let's see. What do we got here?
Before we get going any further, I just want to say that Maya Adkisson really classes up the internet.
Yes, I know, and only like 150 some subscribers. What the hell?
Well, now, but I mean, she's only been streaming a few weeks, so.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
There you
go. She's well networked. I think she's been a presence in side chats all over the atheist skeptic interwebs, and she's bringing great content, having wonderful discussions. So it's really great to see her take her place where she's belonged all this time as a relevant streamer.
Yeah. Let's see here. So I think part of the reason why I have trouble understanding philosophers when they talk about free will is that I am I've been such a strict naturalist for so long concerning mind and brain that I have trouble framing things in the terms that philosophers have been doing. The structure of these philosophical talks is just so counter to the way I think about all this stuff. There's something that I wanted to pop up. If I could pop stuff up. Can I pop stuff up? I can. Okay, I can pop. Here we go. This is confabulation theory. And it's sort of something that I broadly prescribe to. Let's see. Let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger.
That sounds like something that Shaggy would say on Scooby-Doo. Confabulation.
Right, I know. Yeah, and it's weird.
Wanted to point that out.
Yeah, this is one of those things that my mind gets confabulated when it tries to remember the name of the theory. I mean, I know the theory and I love the theory, but when I try to say, what is that called? I'm like, confabulation reminds me of too many words like it, and I can never recall that in memory. So I always have a hell of a time. Yeah, free will. I don't think it's free will worth wanting. It's another name. I have Dan Dammett's book over here. We could probably take a look at that at some point. But anyway, confabulation theory is basically, let's see, cognition is a phylogenetic outgrowth of movement, and that cognition utilizes the same neural circuitry that was originally developed for movement. So in other words, when you choose to move and pick something up, you're using the same neural circuitry roughly to think a series of thoughts. Okay. And I think there's a lot of evidence in neuroscience that the same circuitry has been what is it? I can't. Oh my God, am I going to have trouble with word? Is it one of those mornings?
It's going to be one of those mornings.
Oh my God. Exapted. It's been exapted to do thinking. So all of a sudden we're doing something internal inside of our own little brains, And confabulation theory also goes about this idea about how cognates or certain pieces of cognition are interrelated in the brain. And of course, the thalamus and the basal ganglia are involved in how we move or how we execute a movement, action selection. And we do the same thing when we think, because humans and primates, and I think a lot of mammals, have extra layers over and above movement. For instance, we have a motor cortex, and then we have a premotor cortex. And the premotor cortex can be seen to fire just like you're moving, but you aren't moving yet. And then the motor cortex will take over and move. So you can plan a movement before you actually move.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a little more circuitry in the brain to wire that up. Okay. So,
yeah.
Let's see. And so they do this knowledge links, connect pairs of co-occurring symbols and all of that. Anyway, is anybody familiar with the Scolarpedia?
I have not heard of it.
It's part of Wikipedia, I believe. And it has remarkable, they have, my computational neuroscience. Let's take a look. And I need to link this. Okay, this is computational neuroscience on the Scolarpedia, not Wikipedia. And it's very hard to find. You don't often, Wikipedia doesn't seem to link to it, so I really don't understand how they're connected. Experimental neuroscience, it's just got a ton of stuff. Oscillators, pattern formation, chaos, computational, brain theory, recurrent networks, graph theory. It's just got a ton of stuff. And then we've got cognitive neuroscience, which has its own categories. And we have brain, what do we got here? Okay, brain theory. So we go to brain theory, and we have confabulation theory, holonomic brain theory. What do we get? Consciousness. If we go to consciousness, we got a whole bunch of categories and you see the gray ones. These are headings that have been put up but have not yet been written. So people have agreed to read them. And these guys are horrible because some of these things have been out there for 10 years. And they haven't
written. So it's just not something that has a lot of commitment to it.
Right. So here we go. There's just the attention and consciousness. There's the hard problem of consciousness, higher order theories of consciousness, mind-body problem, just a ton of stuff out here. So let me go ahead and link this one in my description, consciousness, because we're going to be talking a bit about that stuff, I think. Oh, where's description? Okay, Scolarpedia. Scolarpedia. Spelled right. Anyway, it's a real great resource, and they have a whole bunch of other sections and course, I just looked at the neuroscience section. Computational intelligence, dynamical system, physics. Oh my God, they got more topics. What do they got? They got a lot of topics. Oh my God, look at that. Encyclopedia of Touch? That's worth looking at. What the hell is that? Touch is the ability to understand the world through physical contact. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I hope those people that are interested in the mind and psychology will go ahead and take a look at Scolarpedia. Okay. I hope. So,
hey, real quick, do we want to recommend John Oliver to everybody?
Yeah, John Oliver did a thing on psychedelics and therapy, and what this guy? Okay, tell me about
it was very informative and very funny, like always, and it just talks about the potentiality of psychedelic assisted. Is it psychedelic assisted therapy? Was that what he was calling it? And some of the problems it could cause it to because of corporate dominance of the health field. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. And one guy, he described psychotherapy on psilocybin as being in a bathtub filled with puppies licking your face and being hugged by everybody you love.
Yeah,
and then other people. Yeah,
that's a great goal for everybody. Right. Your life should feel that way, and just because if it doesn't, don't feel bad, don't feel horrible or anything. Just make that your goal, is to feel like you're in a bathtub being hugged by people that love you and a million puppies just licking your face. Puppies are so wonderful because they don't have that big dog, oven mitt size tongue licking you. They have the little tiny, teeny, the size of maybe the handle of a little screwdriver, just kind of licking your face with that warm little rough lick. It's just awesome. Puppy licks are just awesome. Yeah, and make your life full of puppy licks and people hugs.
Though after a lot of puppy licks, I do have a tendency to want to take a shower.
That's right. Well, then you can shower with being hugged by everybody who loves you.
Okay.
And that might be awkward depending on who it is, but you get the idea.
Yes, it could be awkward. Okay, so Captive Death said he coined a new fallacy, the Otangelo fallacy. And I'm guessing it might have something to do with this God talk thing that just came up on my the Brazilian douche canoe, formerly known as Otangelo. Basically, let's see, weighing the evidence. Where the hell is it here? Hang on a second. Let me get my stuff together. My stuff ain't together. It ain't together. So, God Talk put this out just a minute ago.
Which an alphabet, created by the mind. A blueprint, instructional, for machines to be designed. Production lines, energy turbines, factories of chemical kind. Systems to transmit information, all intertwined. Intelligent agents with intent, goals, and foresight. Create these systems, never by happenstance or chaotic plight. Cells are factories, protein machines abound. Driven by energy turbines, to function they are bound. Instructional information, stored in genes and code. Epigenetic data guides each step of the node. Intelligence reigns supreme, its causal powers unmatched. Creating complex things for specific function, its design unmatched. Random events, chaotic shuffling, cannot compete. Intelligence is superior, creating things that won't deplete. Intelligence has been observed to instantiate such things. Randomness cannot compare to the intelligence that it brings.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Wow, all those AI programming hours that went into someone just generating nonsense with it.
Yep.
And why did he have to generate a middle-aged white guy speaking only English?
I don't know where he got that from.
Well, I'm sure he could choose from all sorts of avatars, and he chose the middle-aged white guy.
Is that an avatar though?
I thought it was because, it was kind of like bad lip sync. So I just figured it was some sort of AI generating the lip movements to match the words.
Let me check that.
Evidence of design is clear. Random chance cannot interfere. Intelligence is superior to chance.
I don't know. I think that guy's actually talking about that. I don't know who the hell this guy is. Of course, people, YouTube people.
But he's using BDC's words. All that shit that's being spoken is BDC stuff. BDC stands for British douche canoe or Brazilian douche canoe.
British douche canoe. Okay.
Yeah, Brazilian douche canoe.
Yeah.
And so that's his wording put into the mouth of a old white guy, basically one of us. So that's weird. Am I wrong? Come on, chat. Let me know. Am I wrong? Isn't that weird and creepy and
wire fevers?
Curious.
What the hell? What is this?
Now it's snowing.
Cyclical. Sometimes when fighting off a virus, bacteria, injury, etc., the body fluctuates between elevated temperature, fever, and normal temperature. This causes a cycle of chills, sweats, chills, sweats. Why does the body not maintain an elevated temperature until the problem is resolved? The answer: as your body fights off the virus, the viral load drops, the fever reduces, the body becomes more hospitable for the virus again. The virus is reproducing in
the Santa one. Okay. Anyway, Santa explains. That's
Thank you,
interesting.
Santa. It makes so much more sense coming from you.
Well, thank you, Melody Joy, for bringing me that little bit of joy into my heart. I'm just, yeah, I would love to have Santa explain the JAK-STAT pathway to me, or the canonical Wnt beta-catenin pathway to me. I wonder if Santa does that. Anyway, that would be excellent. I think that would be excellent. Okay, so what is it? Oh my God. Free will. I'm having trouble with words today. This is a real problem. Compatibilism, free will.
Yes, that's a word.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's what it's called to me this morning. For some reason, I've got a little bit of Capgras syndrome, which is where I can think of a word, but it doesn't have the emotional support that makes me think it's not an imposter. Compatibilism. Anyway,
it just seems like an imposter word, even though it's real. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I've never been I don't know. I've just not studied. Every time I try to pull out my free will book that talks about all the different views of free will, I'll start reading it and then I just fall asleep. It's like
I know.
I can't get through it, and I have no explanation for that. There are other books that I get, and even though I'm trying to fall asleep, I just kind of am able to tough it through. But it's not with the free will stuff. I don't know why.
So basically, compatibilism, is that free will is deterministic. But okay, determinism is true, but free will still exists because within this framework, within the framework of who I am, basically, free will is a very real intuition that I have about myself, that I have the freedom to make choices, right? But that does not mean that determinism isn't true also. So basically, there are all sorts of things so there's all sorts of things inside and outside, okay? My inside would be the things from my history that have shaped who I am, that are making my choices. And then we have all kinds of things from the outside impinging on it. And at the center of it is this little generator that chooses to do something and executes that action. But God damn it, Maya, will you come and tell us what the difference is between choice and free will?
She's
Please.
at work. You can't do that.
Oh, Maya.
She's not at a work situation.
Oh, no.
I assume that but I just found out today that that we're observing President's Day, and I did not know that. When I started, we didn't observe President's Day. So
I bet my lazy sons are taking the day off.
They probably are because, they just don't have that good old-fashioned Puritan work ethic.
Yeah, our company has more holidays than any other company. I mean, they have the leaves fell off the tree holiday. They take 2 days off, and they take a week off for Thanksgiving, 2 weeks off for Christmas. Oh my God, they're horrible. Anyway, so that's basically compatibilism, or contrasting that with the guys that think that basically there is a singular something in here called the soul, and they have it has to be like libertarian free will has to believe that the mind is a singular point. Okay, and I call it a point source spirit mind. So point source spirit mind, PSSM, basically. They think it's like one little thing that's out there deciding, okay? But then if you've done anything in something called phenomenology, which is how we try to make sense of our subjective experience or try to frame our subjective experience, you'll find that your mind has all kinds of little parts all over it that often compete with each other at the same time. And it's distributed. It's all over the place. It's not in this point source. But they believe there's like something called the soul. And they really tie this into that we just want to sin. That we have this fallen nature, basically. Yeah. And I think there was a Christian who did a thing. Let me see here. Free Will and Choice Confusion by Steve Wilkinson. Free will is a psychological state. Who did that? Predeterminism. That's Wikipedia. An argument against free will, freedom of choice, but not of will. So that's where they make the distinction. And then Science 2.0. And where do I have? I don't know. I don't know where I left the other one, but I had another one. It was a Christian take on the whole thing, or at least it described the Christians and what they think. That it's very, very much tied into this fallen nature of man. That because Eve wanted a snack, right? Eve wanted a snack. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's fair. Yeah. Well, we've been very unfair to Eve for her want of a snack. I mean, for God's sake. A fruit in a tree? I mean, come on. I mean, who's not going to eat that? Oh, the video title Nitty is referring to something that Maya said in the beginning of her stream yesterday, that it was our fault that she had to do a free will thing and talk about the difference between free will and choice. But maybe Nitty can explain it to us.
this reminds me, and I hope Maya is able to be listening right now for my question. But Maya, why did you think I was trolling when I asked my 2 questions about neuroscience during that live stream? I didn't see anything in there that was troll worthy, and so I'm just curious that you would think it was trolling, because I basically asked, um, um, shouldn't you be very familiar with neuroscience in order to have credibility talking about free will and making arguments? And then I asked how many arguments in free will, discussions or dialogues have been overturned by something that we've learned from neuroscience. And so nobody seemed to know, but to me, those are not troll questions or whatever. So I'm just curious, Maya, if you can, tell us if you're able to. I know you're working, and I don't want to interrupt that, but why did you think that was trolling?
Well, with one of the questions you asked, has neuroscience overturned anything, in philosophy or whatever? She mentioned, I think she, okay, Maya, were you talking about Libet? Or you would pronounce it as Libet, but the right way to pronounce it is Libet, Libet. Anyway, yeah, it's a philosophical concept, free will. Well, I think, yeah, it is kind of a free philosophical concept. But I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff in neuroscience about how we can plan something and then execute that something, right? And then how we decide. Basically, like Libet did a whole lot of work with asking people to, I think he had a clock going around and they had to decide when they were going to push the button, and they had to remember where the clock was when they made the decision to push the button. And he found that they actually, the motor area of the cortex lit up somewhat like so many milliseconds before, maybe even a second before they claim they made the decision. And the work, and Maya said that Libet was that she didn't like the papers or the research, and I totally agree with you. There were so many ways that study could have been fucked up and wrong. I mean, it's like I don't understand how he could be sure that he was actually measuring what he was measuring. And anyway, so, but you're familiar with that, right? Libet's work that says, that you actually make the decision before you're conscious of it.
Yeah, from the fMRI readings or whatever, or maybe it was some other scanning device or whatever that they use in medical situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. And to me, that I don't see how the fact that free will is a philosophical discussion can override that or be relevant. Some arguments be relevant in the face of that material.
Yeah.
Background assumptions, the way we understand words can change based on studies of quote unquote reality, which I know is another philosophical area, what is real or whatever. But it just seems to me like actual data and interpretations of data can push out the relevance of certain philosophical arguments, at least to just a history of philosophy kind of stance, not an active. We don't try to prove the existence of ether or phlogiston or whatever anymore, which used to be the in the realm of philosophy, natural philosophy.
Yep. Okay, so imagine what where you are right now. You exist in space and time, right? And some time is going by, and I call it physical time, because in physical time we can talk about T0, right? In other words, we can hypothesize an exact time that we could physically measure with instruments, and we can, go out a ways and measure time. So I call that physical time. Okay, and then there's this strip up here, this red strip that I've drawn, basically with two red lines, and that is your phenomenological. So this is phenomenon. Your phenomenological subjective experience, right? That's happening across this time strip. Okay, so you decide at t0, say something in your brain makes a decision at t0, right? Okay, we can pretend that it happens at that physical instant in time. It doesn't, but let's just pretend it does. Well, then you move along, and basically your brain starts to organize concepts around this thing, and then at t1 you say, oh, I made a decision. So there's about 200 to 700 milliseconds in between those two things before you can form a conscious cognate. And then the next thing you do is you hit the lever right here at T2 or report it to the instructor, right? And or to whoever's doing the test. But the thing is that the first part is already bullshit, because that decision moment was not a moment, but it was like that. And the other problem is that your phenomenology, your subjective experience, you may actually experience something up here before you experience something that actually physically happened before. And they found that to be the case. And there's this sort of like broad band that we move through our experience that occupies roughly a second. Okay. So but within that second, we can't order events. Like if you drop a rock on your foot, oh, it's an unknown color. How about that?
Which I have done many a time.
Right. So if you drop a rock on your foot and you see the rock hitting your foot, you will put those two things together, even though the signal to your brain that gave you you'll put together the visual experience with the pain as if they happen at the same time, even though we know for a goddamn fact that it takes a long time for that impulse, like 3/4 of a second, to travel up into your cortex and be registered as pain. Yet we put it together. So we have a very ill-defined idea of time within this broad band. And that's a really important thing about consciousness, about understanding what we are, what our subjective experience is. Okay. So what I like to do, and where I always start from, the place I always go to, right? My go-to is I have this phenomenological strip or subjective phenomenon and brains. And I draw another one down here, which is actual physical time. And this is where you do all your brain scans. This is where you try to figure out what is happening at a certain time, TN, in the brain, right? And then you try to compare it. So what you can do is, if we could put a person in a brain scan, have them experiencing, various things in life, and we can tell them what's happening in their brain, we could start to organize what causes this subjective experience right here, basically. And that is my hope, to take my on the forum that I did 50,000 posts on. They used to tease me and call it my ribbons and bows theory, right? But basically, you have these two ribbons, and that is the goal of consciousness research. And I think all cognitive neuroscience is to figure out what is happening down here, okay, to make us think that something is happening up here. And we're going to find a whole lot of problems. We're going to find that we sense something that happens 3/4 of a second later. We're going to sense that as happening first. and then this other stuff is happening second. And that's one of the problems with Libet's work, is that we have this subjective fuzziness going on right here, where there's always, like, as you move forward in time, there's always a brush of time, basically. Oh, I got
Hey, real quick, Speed. There is an interesting reference that Icarus just put in the side chat that would probably be real advisable to put in the description.
Okay. I'm going to...
Hello, everyone. I am not...
Oh, the evidence...
according to Real Atheology, who is a group of philosophers on this particular channel, this is perhaps one of the most comprehensive, sophisticated, and formidable cases for atheism ever presented on YouTube. You bring a lot of invaluable insights from eminent atheist philosophers, especially Draper, but also bring attention to novel and underrated arguments. I hope that both atheists and theists will make use of this work in the years to come. So
oh my God,
that's a credible group of people making a pretty strong recommendation for this video. And I am definitely putting it in my watch list, and I appreciate Icarus for bringing it to our attention.
Well, thank you. So I'm going to put that in my description along with this guy's channel. This is called Naturalism Next, and I've never heard of it before.
Me neither.
And we need to 383 subscribers only, so it must be pretty new. Probably started yesterday.
They have 384 now.
Yeah, I just added one myself. I'm going to switch over to my other account and add another one. And then let's go look at the site. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, the shit me and Scott say, or the shit I say, is just, I know you guys don't care and don't listen. but at least we point you to resources, right? And we put it in our description. So please give old Speed that much. I don't know. Why I'm an Atheist, part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
And then let's see what else. Oh, I got to do Chroma.
Wow, these are long too. So yeah, that looks interesting.
1 hour, yeah, 1 hour. Oh, okay, debate discussion on the problems of evil. Why I'm an Atheist, part 0. No one's okay, dude. No one starts at part 0.
That would be the prolegomena.
There is no such thing as part 0. So,
well, unless you're talking about the initial index, which can be 0.
Yeah, why animal suffering is a serious problem for Christianity.
Wow. Yeah, that's novel. I mean, I can't endorse the content, but you can certainly explore it.
Yeah. My appearances on other channels. Ooh. So that's a playlist. Oh, no, I don't want
Welcome
to
to Counter Apologetics.
I'm
I'm your host, Emerson Green. And today we're talking about the psychology of religion. We're going to talk about some modern research in the cognitive science of religion, which illuminates the likely...
God damn it. Oh, shit. What just happened? Okay. Let's see. View full playlist is the link I wanted. Okay.
Icarus makes an interesting observation. He's probably a computer scientist.
What's that?
Because he starts counting at 0.
Yeah, that's
0-based indexes.
Yeah. Yep, and that is the birth of the off by 1 error, which basically all computer programmers, it's the bane of computer programmers, the off by 1 error, because of that 0 thing. You got to subtract that 1 all the time. Anyway, okay, so he's been on other channels, Truth Teller, Christian Idealism, and Emerson Green. So this is a whole new group, maybe a whole new community that had not touched our community before. So we gotta keep an eye on this guy. Okay, everybody. Okay. So yeah, you don't care about my ribbons and bows, do you? Do you? None of you do.
I think you have great ribbons and bows.
Yeah. Anyway, that's so when I analyze a problem like free will, I always start with this. I draw these ribbons, right? This phenomenological, what I think is happening, as near as I can tell, what I remember of what happened while I was experiencing something, right? which is really a bad science, right? But when you get used to it, when you start to you basically create skills in your mind to try to observe what you're feeling. Like, for instance, I was working on my phenomenology, working on recording my subjective experience. I opened the door on the east side of my house to the river valley, to the backyard, and I saw a black something up in a tree. And next I thought crow. Next I saw the black something start spiraling around the tree. And next I thought squirrel. And I think all that happened within about 1 second, right? So my senses failed me, because the first thing I thought is crow came to mind, and I felt that and I recorded it. So what I did is basically I created, these objects like, okay, black thing, crow, oh no, something's off, oh no, squirrel. So between these two pieces, I had a subjective experience. Now, had I had a good neuroscientist around brain scanning me, I could have fucking figured out what exactly I was doing. And he would have seen my thalamus zooming in on this particular problem, would have seen my visual area light up, would have seen the linguistic area light up to supply the word crow to my head, and then later squirrel. And all of these things would be parts of my brain, and they would operate in, different layers down here. So then we can make sense of our subjective experience if we start doing this stuff. Now, I insist that if they did this with a sufficiently powerful computer, if you took a subject, say a terrorist had been caught with a whole bunch of empty explosive cartons, and obviously he built a bomb and he put it somewhere, right? So you could put him in this machine and you could show him a movie, a 2-hour movie of a whole bunch of different things, And in that movie, you would have, different kinds of buildings, hospitals, schools, universities, parks, whatever. And then you would feed that into the computer. And then you would ask him a question: where did you put the bomb? And then he would say, I'm not telling you, fuck you. And then you would say, you put it in the school, in the cupboard on the first level, because we got the brain scan to tell us exactly what you were thinking when we asked that question. That is within 20 years, our technology will be able to do this. We're going to be able to read minds. But the way you read them, like, you couldn't just hook that computer program up to another individual, because that other individual is going to have a very different mapping in its brain. So you would have to show him the movie so you could establish the correlation between the ribbon and these two ribbons, right? You have to correlate between what's happening in your brain and what's happening in your cortex. Does that make sense? Is that scary, Scott? Scott? Scott's gone. Am I gone? Is everybody gone? Oh, Scott left. What the fuck? Oh, well, that's convenient, Scott. Anyway, so what do you guys think about that in chat? I think it's fairly fascinating. Anyway, that's my ribbons and bows thing. So free will, I don't know. What the fuck? Oh, that's a highlighter. I need an eraser. So I just don't see free will as being anything other than caused by completely physical events in your brain. And it just, discussions about free will, there's one on my my rational skepticism forum that has been going on for about 12 years. And it's considered the hell thread. Like, people that go there only go there to feel pain, because there's all these arguments about free will. But inside your brain, you have an action selection network, basically. Action selection. And you have a premotor cortex, which is involved in a whole lot of things. So you have your premotor cortex, and then you have your motor cortex, which actually goes out and touches, has nerves that they're called efferents that leave the motor cortex and go to your hands and fingers and toes and all that stuff and allow you to move. So you do a little planning up here, and then of course we have your basically the frontal cortex, or the parts of our mind where we reason and decide things, and all of this stuff is being modified and selected with this action selection network down here. And so you start looking at that, and what does that use? I mean, if you're up here, if you're cogitating about something to do, obviously you're pulling in all the pieces from your cortex, all the pros and cons, and you're trying to make a decision, and then you kind of decide something to do, and then out here you sort of plan the something that you're going to do, and then you fire off your motor cortex. There's an action event selected where you actually move your hands. So you think about, I need a cup of coffee, I want to reach for, or I need a sip of coffee, and there's my cup, and you sort of like move through all of this very rapidly, and you reach out, grab your cup. But it's all physical. All of it's physical. And if you want to call that free will, I don't know. The other thing about free will is when we're deciding whether or not a person is responsible for a crime, Nick Soder did a really good job of explaining that mens rea, I think it is, the having the intent to commit the crime. Like an intent is something that's going to be stored in your working memory. I intend to reach for that cup of coffee and take a sip. Stored in your working memory. So I have an intent to do it, and then I go ahead and plan that movement very quickly and execute that movement and take a sip of coffee. Now, if you are the kind of a thing, the kind of an object that tends to kill its neighbors with an axe, okay, then you are a kind of thing that we can not punish, but that we should put in prison. Because, of course, we don't want you killing a bunch of people with an axe, right? So as a society, we decide, this person, oftentimes, when he makes a decision and he goes ahead and executes some action, oftentimes it involves chopping up somebody with an axe. Well, we got a bad egg there, and we have to put that bad egg in a different box than the good eggs so that he can't crack them with his axe. There you go. Scott, are you back? Because I kind of want to end this painful thread. Hell, only 120 chats. So what do we got going on here?
Okay, I feel like an explanation is in order. I have a massive hole in my fence, and I always have to stay by the door and make sure that my dog Kira doesn't get out when she goes out to do her business.
Oh, you need a fence patcher.
See, I neither have the money to buy new fence material and build and patch it myself, or hire somebody to do it. So I'm having to basically be a monitor for my dog. And she does this thing where she acts like she has to go so bad, and then she gets out there and she just dilly dallies. And I'm kind of angry right now with my dog.
Well, let me tell you how we do it in Minnesota. When the raccoons break into the fence, we get the little step ladder, we get some hay wire, which is basically we call it hay wire in Minnesota because we used to wrap hay bales with wire. It's just a roll of wire, and we get some pliers and we go out there and just weave the wire back and forth until the hole is fixed. So, but I don't know. That's just what we do in the river valley here, where nobody can see how horrible my fence looks.
up yonder in Minnesota way.
Minnesota.
I need to go back and check on her real quick. She's still out there.
Okay. I'm going to end the stream here, Scott, pretty quick.
Okay. Well, then, thanks, everybody. I better go and check out my dog.
Yep. And Maya, please talk to me. Answer. Go on that. I have a Twitter message to you. I've been trying to communicate with you, and kind of wanted to have that talk on self and free will and a number of other things, and find the points where you can educate me on what I'm getting wrong. There you are, Maya. So please respond to my Twitter messages. You have not done that. I feel so bad. Anyway. Okay. So I don't know. I hope that laid out a little bit of how I think about consciousness and free will and all of these philosophical problems. So anyway.
Can I add to the list of questions you have for Maya?
Yeah.
And that is, how does free will being a philosophical issue excuse it from the scrutiny of science, and vice versa?
I would be surprised if she believed that, but yeah, that is a good question. So,
and
okay.
I'm also not putting really the onus on Maya. That's just kind of question I have, and anybody who weighs in on the topic of free will is more than welcome to comment about it. And but those are the kind of things that I want to know, and eventually I'll get around to taking some sort of upper, and so I can stay awake through the reading of a volume about free will.
Yeah. Yep. There's an old cowboy trick. You get a thorny bush and you put it between your chin and your chest. So every time you nod off, you hit the thorn. Yeah. Okay.
That's one way to do it. Yes.
Yeah. Do that. Yeah. It's better than stimulants. It's a lot safer.
Or I could get a few puppies that would climb up on me and lick my face.
Oh yeah.
If I fell asleep.
Or you could get Snack. Snack, every time I fall asleep, Snack comes and goes burr, 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 and wakes me up and pokes me and throws his body up against mine. And yeah, Snack can keep you awake. Neuroscience isn't required to understand the concept of free will. Every branch of science, I think it is required to understand the concept of free will. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like, we philosophers were having a great time discussing free will and all the different varieties, and how this argument cancels out that argument and such. But now science is here and they can't play. But the question is, doesn't neuroscience have a legitimate claim to be able to provide arguments and examples that contradict philosophical positions?
Yeah.
And I'm not being argumentative. Those are just the questions I have. And just trying to sort those out in my old head, which is sometimes a very difficult thing to do.
Yep, and I should speak for myself, but keep in mind that me and Scott are just a couple old idiots.
Yeah, kind of grumpy and and everything. So
get off my lawn, you fucking philosophers, philosophy-weenies, I call them. And I have another class, psycho-weenies, which are psychologists.
You and Maya might just have an argument.
We might have a class right there. Psycho-weenies might be a class. Philosophy-weenies and psycho-weenies, and I suppose you could call us neuro-weenies. I don't know.
Neuro-weenie, okay.
Yeah,
neuronuts.
Apologetics equals science is good when it is universe began science is bad and inaccurate when it takes away my free will. Yeah, there you go.
My free will. Don't take away my free will.
I'm really surprised that none of you guys came into my stream today, and I pinned the link. But to hell with y'all. So goodbye, cruel world.
Goodbye. We love you all.
Love y'all. Goodbye.